and I'm joined by Ali and Danny of the Virginmarys. How you guys doing?
Great.
Great, very good.
Good, glad to hear it. So, of course, most recently, you guys have released latest single, "You're a Killer." That's been brilliant received on obviously Meds. I'm following on from Meds, which is also great. You must be happy with the response you guys are getting. I mean, it's good to see the name getting pushed out there again, and seems to be good response this summer to you boys.
Yeah, mate. I mean, it's obviously the first singles we've done as a two-piece, and yeah, you never really know how it's going to go down. You know, with especially with older fans, where you know what it's like. There's people that are kind of sometimes can be like, "No, I'm not having this." You know, where's the bass? But no, I honestly don't think we could have got a better response on them two singles, and yeah, it's been brilliant. Just this all feels really good again.
Do you guys feel that the songwriting's changed because you're now the duo? Do you think that you're going into more different areas because essentially, you're just bouncing off the two of you? Or
Yeah, I mean the songwriting's kind of had to change to there's kind of been less option how we've done it at the minute with kind of mainly using riffs and an octave pedal, and the songs have had to be more direct, but that's been great. And that helps, I think, a lot of the time. I think I found when I've been writing tunes and having bass guitar and all these other things that I can mess around with, I tend to get maybe a little bit carried away and it loses the essence of the song. This has been a challenge to make the songs possibly more instant, but definitely more direct, and there's nowhere to hide. And I think it really shines a light on Danny's playing more, my playing, and the lyrics come out better almost because there's less going on stage.
yeah, I must admit, like I'm a bass player myself, so normally when it's a two-piece minus a bass, the songs can sound thin for me personally, just because I'm one here that time. But obviously, what you're doing with the octave pedals and everything else is almost bridging that gap anyway. So, like when I saw you guys supporting New Model Army, like we are talking about just off air, that was the first time I'd seen you as a two-piece, and to me, it wasn't missing any of the sound from when I'd seen you guys previously.
Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, I mean, like we really we worked hard on getting that that full sound, because I think we're kind of known for the big. I mean, we're definitely allowed full-on band, but just that big sound, and we weren't going to come back and have it sound flimsy. So we took a lot of time working on it, and in some ways. Like there's now two bass amplifiers on stage. In some ways, it's kind of more bassy than it's ever been to compensate, ironically.
I said that to my mate Daryl, actually. Me and my mate Daryl down the front watching you guys, like I was saying, in a New Model Army gig. And which I said before, we went in, like, it was the first time I'm going to see the guys since. So I'm interested to see how it's going to be. And Daryl hadn't seen you before. So he was like, well, what was it compared to like last time? And I was like, if anything, it's more bass heavy.
I know, it's mental.
Yeah.
I've actually, yeah, I've got really fond of that sub bass sound, and that's kind of where the big wide sound comes from, I think. So yeah, it's cool. It's been great. It's been really cool.
Are you guys sticking with this as you and Danny for now then, or have you got in mind to bring in a more traditional bass player if it was the right person to come along? Or you just,
I think for now, I mean,
obviously for now it works perfectly, so there's no reason to.
You what, sorry, mate?
Obviously for now it works absolutely great, like I was saying.
Yeah,
no
I mean it's still quite fresh, and I don't think that we've fully explored the boundaries of what we could do as this. So yeah, there's still plenty more time. I don't think that either of us would rule anything out, because we're just not that type of band to stick to one formula, and hammer it to death. So I guess when it gets to the point that it feels, we need a change or we need to expand, then we would do.
obviously, like we're saying that, Eurica has been well received, Med's been well received. Is this a sign of an EP or future album, or are you concentrating on the singles for now?
Yeah, I think at the start of the year there was probably talk. We were weighing up whether we'd do an album, but then I think as it went on, it felt, especially we've only just started as a 2-piece, kind of felt more natural just to keep releasing singles and then maybe back end of the year release an EP. So I think it's probably more looking like we're going to do that. Maybe the album comes out next year. But it just feels like at the moment what we want to do is just to build up more of a momentum again as a 2-piece, and it just, don't know, it definitely feels the most natural at the moment. So
I think there's a danger also when you do release an album. It's great, it's amazing for the fans, but just the way that things are at the minute, within a month or two, people are just asking what's next.
Yeah.
The attention span's so little that for now it seems to make more sense to kind of drip feed certain things so we get the best. I mean, we didn't really know how it was going to be received anyway, becoming 2-piece, so it's felt more organic and a wiser choice to do it like this.
I guess for you guys, obviously, also sort of being independent and doing everything yourselves, it gives you more of that freedom and space to, get it up to a point where you're happy with it as well.
Yeah, and like we've been working in a 3-piece format for over 10 years probably now, and like we're only kind of a year into doing this 2-piece, and I don't want to release something that's not properly thought out, and you want it to be the best that it can possibly be. So,
I mean, see, the first time I saw you guys was Download 2010. I sort of stumbled across your set there, just walking around because no one was on the main stages. I wanted to see really, so I did what I always do, which in that case was grab a beer and go to the tents and see what's happening. And so that's where I first sort of came across you guys. And to me, you've always been a force live, and went from that, from seeing you guys then up in the scene, like I say, most recently supporting New Model Army at the Apex. I don't think you've lost any of your power, so I don't understand. I don't see why you would change with what you're doing and what you're doing now, sort of thing.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. I think as well, as long as we've been doing it, it's always felt like we're always better when there's sort of like a challenge to be done. I mean, before we were a 3-piece, we were in a different band. It was a 4-piece, so we were always used to that. And then it became a 3-piece, and you were kind of like, can we have the sound as big as it was with the 2 guitars? And we did that, and then it feels a little bit similar for this, where you kind of, it's a challenge to be kind of like, because we knew off the bat the one thing it couldn't be was like less big, like it, because like Ali was saying, is that's something that all our fans and people have always said about us, that it's a massive sound for a 3-piece. So we knew it had to be a massive sound for a 2-piece.
Yeah, of course. Well, I was saying that you've had a hell of a summer of gigs with, the couple of shows you managed to do, New Model Army, out on the road with Ricky Warwick. You've had your festival appearances as well. And the, was it Sweden or that you're out in as well, where the guy was taking you out on tour, I saw?
Yeah, that was amazing.
That looked insane, man. What I was seeing out there.
Yeah. I think I remember saying to Al halfway through, like, we'll never ever do a tour like this, where because normally wherever you tour, you never get a chance to see anything, and even if you do have chance, you're that knackered anyway. You kind of just go, oh no, I'm just going to stay in the whatever hotel or whatever. But it was amazing that, because we did genuinely get to, everywhere we played, we got to see something. And
we're still knackered though. Just got
around
by. He's that proud of his country, and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
he should be. And Pele's a beautiful man. But yeah, he was adamant that we were seeing everything that we could possibly see in that 2 weeks.
And you guys were trying to sleep off hangovers and
recover
from the night before.
Could have done with a lot more sleep, I think. But yeah, it was drop your bags, right? We meet back here in 10 minutes, and then we were off again. So God bless him.
How did that come about for anybody who didn't see the video that was going about? And
well, I would say 5 years ago, maybe we played a gig in London, and there was our merch person at the end of the night said some crazy Swedish guy has just spent 300 quid on the merch, and it was something like that, and it was like no way. Just stuff that never happened to us, probably never happen again, that someone from Sweden spends 300 quid on the merch. And he was always coming to every tour, one of them he would appear at, and then we just got talking, and he would try and get us over to Sweden, and it just sounded like a crazy idea, and there's so much more to consider, and that's what we always were saying. But then he was just that headstrong on it, and he sadly became unwell, and the band was a big help to him in his recovery, and it was kind of like a bucket list thing for him. I mean, it still took a little bit of persuading for us, because we're not comfortable with the idea of someone funding everything themselves to but I think maybe spoke to him last year, and it's like, I remember kind of being in tears listening to the story, and thought, like, let's make this happen, and we did. It was a big thing for both of us, really. It kind of took a lot of trust. We didn't know each other really, but it was one of the most exciting things to happen in my life. I think one of them stories that will always stay with you, and I love the guy and his family to bits now, and we stay in touch. So it's one of them amazing things, and obviously it got covered on the ITV news, so very crazy.
it must have been, I mean, aside from the fact that obviously it was a bucket list for him, and I saw the video, and that guy obviously hadn't been well, and bless his heart for doing all what he was doing, but to go on a tour like that where you're not 100% sure, exactly where you're going, someone else funding it, so it must have been one of the most, in ways, rewarding, because obviously of everything behind it, and his story and all that, but also it's got to be one of the most bizarre tours to ever be put in front of any band, I would have thought.
It totally was, but very beautiful,
Yeah. Do you felt like, because you were getting shown around, like we were talking about earlier, that you saw bits that, bits of Sweden that you wouldn't have seen otherwise?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, and that's so memorable. Like I can't imagine having someone over to my neck of the woods and being that passionate about, you've got to see this, it was great.
You're not having them over here for a tour of Macclesfield, then?
That's it, yeah. We rise at the crack of noon, and then we'll go and see the canal.
I'm sure he'd love that.
Oh, totally, yeah. But amazing man, and a great thing to happen. But loads of great things have happened, surprising things have happened in this band. We're one of them that after so many years and sticking at it, some people absolutely adore us, and then some people don't get it at all, but it's almost like a cult band, and there's many passionate people out there.
But you say that, but you've always had your supporters. Like a couple of, when did I talk to him? It must have been about 3-4 weeks back now, maybe a little longer, but I got to interview Michael Monroe, and we were talking about the Stone Free Festival where I was at that, and obviously you guys played that as well. And that was the first thing he said to me when he realised what festival he's done. The first thing he said was, "Oh yeah, that was the one when the Virginmarys was playing, wasn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the one, man. Yeah." And he's like, "Oh yeah." And then he just started going about, Bang 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 being his favourite song, and was nothing showing, like,
Yeah,
saying nothing but love for you
crazy.
guys.
Like I keep in touch with Michael, and that's another one of them
Yeah.
crazy things. Like he just sent me the new album, which is great, really, really good. But yeah, just mental. Some certain people really champion the band, and some of them people are incredible writers and musicians also. So kind of type of stuff really means something.
No, I bet, like you say, when it's not someone, just saying stuff for the sake of, when you got people, obviously, Slash was a big thing of you in the early days, but like Michael Monroe, and having people, who's obviously music you admired, have that kind of regard from them's got to be pretty insane.
It makes it all worthwhile.
So what is the the rest of the plans for the remainder of the year for you guys then?
Yeah, we've got a new single coming out that it will coincide with the tour. Devil Keeps Coming,
Sweet.
which hopefully, if we can get everything together for it, I'm really excited. Obviously, in the last two videos we've done have been pretty ambitious, and this next one will be definitely the most ambitious. So whether we can pull it off or not, I don't know. It'll definitely be fun trying. And then, yeah, just keep. Obviously, yeah, I think we'll probably put an EP out, and then maybe another single before the year's out. But yeah, it feels like at the moment we just want to keep releasing as much new stuff and just playing again, getting out and gigging again. It's the whole COVID thing was the weirdest thing for everybody anyway, but certainly for a musician. And I think probably the music sector is probably the one that's still feeling it the most, in terms of it still isn't quite back to the way it was.
No, it's not, is it?
No.
Still got people waiting till last minute to buy tickets, and people, which
yeah, which is understandable, but
it's understandable, but it's a show.
Yeah, I don't know what you can really do about that.
No.
I think some people as well have just got so into the routine of doing stuff that they've, not really come out of that yet. It still does feel, it feels like a different time before we went in, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I remember, like, throughout, when I was talking to various musicians throughout the pandemic, we all sort of were saying that, you kind of hope that coming out of the pandemic, it would be a bit of a roaring 20s scenario where everybody had been cooped up for so long, that they would then just go to, everything and anything they wanted to go to within, you wouldn't get that midweek gig on a Tuesday night somewhere where everybody kind of went, well, I've got work in the morning, I'm not going. You kind of thought that everyone would just go out. And I think there was certainly a period of that, for an initial period of it, for a little while. But right now it does seem to be a thing of people, like you say, I think some people still aren't 100% happy with going out, which is, I guess, that's fair enough, and that's certainly their right. And then I think, like you say, some people got into that routine of just not going out and sitting at home with a couple of cans or whatever on a Saturday night, and I think they've just got
Yeah, I mean, I think the current climate of everything, the Brexit and the pandemic, and now the war brought on, and the inflation, and people are heading towards winter. I don't remember a time like this in my life.
No, nor do I, mate. It's a scary time for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I guess like gig tickets and going out on the top of people's, well, not everyone's agenda if they need to keep warm and eat.
No, this is it. When you have to choose between those things, there's only one thing you are going to choose, I suppose, sadly.
Exactly, Virginmarys on the October.
Exactly. Put a blanket on and go watch Virginmarys instead.
bring the nan.
Exactly. Sit there like now with a tartan blanket over your knees, and then when you come home, sorted.
Buy a t-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. You buy a t-shirt, then wear a couple of layers, sorted. Have you announced who you're taking out on the road support-wise for the tour then, yeah? Or are you doing local acts? What's called that way?
There will be some local acts, but we're taking, I think, Ankle Lane are doing the majority of the tour.
Oh, nice.
Bastet are doing one or two as well. And then there's a local band to Macclesfield called Between Thorns, who doing the Manchester show. But there'll be more to be announced, I'm sure.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, we played with Ankle Lane on the
Ricky Warwick
tour. Yeah, they're really good lads.
Yeah, they're a great band. In fact, the other band that you sort of played with, the Ricky Warwick tour, Howling Tides, I had them on at my festival last weekend. So the guys told me to say hello when I knew they were.
Oh, nice. Yeah, really, really cool guys. Really great band.
Yeah, really sound guys.
It was good. It was really good, that tour. You know, we'd not been out on a support tour for actually quite a long time, and it was a great buzz.
It was a hell of a tour as well. Was it like 20 odd dates in a month, wasn't there?
It's awesome, man. It's awesome. And Ricky Warwick's just like a legend. He's got so many cool stories as well. So yeah, really, really great.
Yeah. I felt a bit sorry for him when I saw the photos go past when he got the headstock in his temple, man. That looked gnarly.
He was pretty unlucky, man. I think like within 2 days he had laryngitis or something like that. So there was one show where I just did an acoustic performance because it was a festival, I think, and he could barely speak, but he still went on stage and did the best that he could, and it was still great. It was still entertaining, but I did feel sorry for him. You know, for about a week or 2 weeks, he was really struggling.
Yeah, I saw something about that online at the time. I remember seeing him that he was, because he lined up to do a few sort of in-store appearances and things like that, and obviously he was quite rightly reserving his voice for the sort of main show on each day. And I remember seeing
that. Man. He could barely speak, but still managing to perform. It's pretty impressive.
Ricky Warwick, I mean, I've had the good fortune of meeting him once or twice, and I interviewed him a couple of times as well, and just sort of strikes me as the guy that, especially after lockdown and everything, I know how excited he was about the tour when I spoke to him, so I don't think he would have let anything stop him from getting up on that stage at that point.
Yeah, no, he's a legend, man.
I say you've done some cool support slots. Is there anybody out there that? Well, let's flip it. You said who you're taking out on your tour, so that's a given. But if there's anyone else out there that you'd like to tour with, who would it be?
It's always a pleasure to play with New Model Army.
Yeah.
Just love them guys. I think like the songwriting is really inspirational as well. I don't know. Dan, have you got anyone in mind?
Probably the obvious ones, Queens of the Stone Age, and yeah, I don't know really. I mean,
Idols would be a great tour for us, I think.
Yeah, that's like there must be like a giant queue for everyone that wants to go with Idols at the moment, isn't it? So, but yeah, they'd be. I think like we'd be cool with them. It'd be a good shout.
Yeah, that'd be a good pairing, I think.
Yeah, man. We just want to get in front of as many ads as we can, you know, at the minute, and grow. It's felt a bit like kind of starting again.
Yeah.
Since we become two, and with the whole thing being, it feels like a different playing field almost. But yeah, it's great. There's a freshness to it. We just want to.
Do you feel like you're having to prove yourself then again? Do
you? Maybe to ourselves, I think. You know, certainly it feels a lot fresher than it's ever done, and the songwriting's kind of changed, and how we have to approach the music. And we've taken on a lot of stuff independent, so it's about, you know, still wanting to write, you know, still wanting to bring out that kind of Dark Side of the Moon, or you know, Revolver, White Album.
You're not got your sights set too high then?
Always, man. You know, like the mark is out of sight, so we always want to prove ourselves.
Fair play. So what was your, you know, who was you talking about, you know, Revolver and Dark Side of the Moon there? Who, for both of you, who was it who made you pick up your instruments respectively in the first place? What band was it that kicked you off and made you want to do this?
Well, my dad was always a Beatles fan, and you know, early Fleetwood Mac and Leonard Skinner. So I always listened to guitar music, so I always had that. But the first band that I loved from being a kid that kind of latched onto as my own was Def Leppard.
Oh, nice. Funny enough, that's mine actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. As a kid growing up, my dad had music going all about the shop and that, but I kept nicking his copy of Adrenalize out of the car when I was a kid. He had it on tape, and I kept nicking it. And when I was about, God, was I 93? So would have been 5 or 6. And Adrenalize came out, and I kept nicking it and like going upstairs and I had this crappy little one speaker thing that like kids supposed to play like nursery rhymes on, but I would nick tapes out of my dad's car and go put them in this thing. And I kept nicking Def Leppard's Adrenalize and Queen's Innuendo album.
Nice.
Films I kept nicking, and he got that annoyed with me keep like nicking him. And then obviously he was driving to work or whatever. When I go put something on, it was like, "Oh, tape's gone again." They ended up buying me a copy of both. I remember coming into my room and kind of throwing these 2 cassettes on my bed, and was like, "Right, they're yours. Stop nicking mine."
That's awesome, mate.
Yeah, that's wicked.
How about you, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, that was probably one of the things that me and Al, when we first met each other, connected on. My dad was a big Beatle fan, so I grew up listening to, Beatles, Beach Boys, loads of Motown stuff. And then, yeah, I sort of got into the sort of 60s rock bands, The Who, Free, stuff like that. Keeping was a big influence, and later Led Zepp and stuff like that. And then it just, like anything else, it just progresses from there, really. But yeah, Beatles, Beach Boys is still, every now and again you go back to them, because that, you can't really beat the songwriting and the harmonies and stuff. The uniqueness, definitely, of the Beach Boys. And yeah.
I think you always end up going back to, whatever turned you on in the first place for various reasons. You might not go to it for a while, but I think you always end up going back to it level.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens, when you can revisit and hear the magic again. Like, you kind of almost take it for granted, I think, when you've listened to something so many times, and the ins and outs. But when you do get them times where it feels fresh again, it's incredible.
I think you're right there. I mean, there's, certain albums growing up that I sort of played to absolute death. And then, doing what I do with the radio show and my festival, there's been so many great stuff released the last few years that I've sort of been soaking myself up amongst that. And then it was funny enough, actually, when I was on the festival last week, me and Rob and Hayden Howland Tides were sitting there talking, and we were talking about the Coverdale Page album. And I was like, oh man, I've not listened to that for ages. So I've been ended up sort of soaking that up this week and sort of almost rediscovering it, because it's been so long since I listened to that album in the first place.
Yeah, man.
It's nice to do it,
Big time.
So have you said you got the Womble single to release. Have you got another one lined up? Obviously at some point it's going to come, but just thinking sort of short-term plans. Are you guys got that set up, or is it just, I don't know what your writing process is like at the minute. I don't know if you focus on block writing or whether you just focus on the single, because obviously you're doing everything yourselves in terms of the videos and release and everything.
Yeah, we're going to release another single pretty soon, followed by the EP, fingers crossed. There's quite a lot of songs to be going on with. I think we're probably just going to cherry pick them. Like, I'll tend to send the stuff to Dan, and then we decide kind of which ones we're both feeling, and then we jam over them. But yeah, just as much music as we can release, really, is the plan.
Fair play. And I guess this point where I say the platform yours for the tour, guys. What do you want to say to anybody who's listening who's not grabbed their tickets for the October tour yet?
Just this, yeah. I mean, we're going to obviously we'll be playing loads of new tunes that no one's heard before, and then obviously we'll be playing a load of old tunes. I mean, it'd be great if we can try and mix up each night, really. But we'll certainly be throwing in different tunes as we go. It won't be just the same set for every date. So yeah, it'll just be a lot of the first, second, and Northern Sun sessions, maybe even some like B-side stuff that we haven't played for about 10 years. So
yeah, just get down to the tour. It's always awesome to see the fans.
Well, I've just had a quick look at the dates, so I'm I think, yeah, I was right. Yeah. So the Milton Keynes one's the closest one to me. So I'm going to come down to that. So we'll
Awesome.
see you guys then. Fair up before. And yeah, thanks for talking to us, dude. Just one more thing before I let you go and enjoy the rest of the evening. At the beginning of the interview, we're going to play a new single, You're a Killer. But what did you want to play at the end of the interview?
You choose, Dan.
What one of our tunes?
Yeah, we'll sandwich it.
Oh, I don't know. The Meds, I guess, maybe.
I'm happy with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I'm happy with that, man.
Keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
Definitely. All right, dude. Thanks for talking to me, and see you soon.
Pleasure, mate.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.